The first day Princess stepped into Greenfield High School was like a scene out of a fairy tale. Her elegance was effortless, her long, curly hair cascading down her back like a waterfall. She moved with a grace that turned heads, and soon enough, she was the center of attention. Amara, the reigning queen bee of the school, had always been the most beautiful girl at Greenfield. She was used to the stares, the admiration, and the power that came with it. But when Princess walked in, Amara felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. She felt threatened. Princess was different. She was soft-spoken, always polite, and never raised her voice. Unlike Amara, whose arrogance often rubbed people the wrong way, Princess had a quiet charm that drew people in. Boys who used to flock around Amara now found themselves captivated by Princess. But there was something else about Princess that intrigued everyone even more. She never used the girls' restroom. First it was just a rumor. Then Amara's clique, Tina, Beezy, and Lara, confirmed it. They saw Princess slip into the boys' restroom one afternoon. They were baffled. Why would she do that? Was she trying to get the boys' attention? Was it some kind of twisted game? Amara, desperate to regain her standing, was determined to find out. The real trouble began when Ben, the most sought-after boy in the school, was paired with Princess for the upcoming fashion show week. Ben was everything a girl could want, tall, with a muscular build, deep brown eyes, and a smile that could melt even the coldest heart. He was the star of the soccer team, and his effortless charm made him the school's heartthrob. He was also Amara's crush, though she would never admit it openly. When Amara heard that Ben and Princess would be partners for the fashion show, she was angry. Her mind raced with ways to sabotage Princess. But no matter what she tried, nothing seemed to get a reaction from Princess. She remained calm, always with that gentle smile on her face. But then one day during a break, Amara and her clique followed Princess as she headed to the restroom. They watched in shock as she entered the boys' restroom once again. Their curiosity turned into determination. They needed to know why. The next day they devised a plan. They convinced one of the boys, Toby, to check the restroom after Princess had used it. Toby hesitated at first, but the promise of being a hero in Amara's eyes was too tempting to resist. He waited until Princess exited the restroom, then quickly went in. What he found made his blood run cold. Hidden under the sink was a small box of pills labeled hormone therapy. Toby had no idea what they were for, but he knew they were something big. He rushed back to Amara with the news. Amara's mind spun with the possibilities. Hormone therapy. Why would Princess be taking that? Then, as the pieces of the puzzle started to fit together, the realization hit her. Princess was intersex. Amara's discovery felt like a golden opportunity to take down her rival once and for all. She and her clique wasted no time. They spread the word through whispers and texts, making sure everyone knew the truth. Soon the entire school was buzzing with the news. Princess is a freak, they whispered. She's not even a real girl. The reaction was swift and brutal. Students started avoiding Princess, whispering behind her back and making crude jokes. But through it all, Princess remained composed, never showing the pain that Amara was sure she must be feeling. Ben, on the other hand, was furious when he heard the rumors. He couldn't believe how cruel his classmates were being. He knew he had to do something. During one of their fashion show rehearsals, he approached Princess. "Hey," Ben said gently, trying to catch her attention as they rehearsed their walk for the fashion show. Princess kept her focus ahead, not acknowledging the whispers around her. Finally, she looked at him, her eyes brimming with tears that she had fought so hard to hold back. "Thank you, Ben," she whispered. "But you don't have to protect me. I'm used to being different." Ben's heart ached seeing her so vulnerable. "Different doesn't mean bad," he replied firmly. "I think you're perfect just the way you are." Touched by his words, Princess finally allowed herself to cry. Ben pulled her into a comforting embrace, and in that moment she knew she wasn't alone. Ben couldn't get Princess out of his mind after that. He was troubled by the thought of what she was going through at home, especially considering her hormone therapy. His concern didn't go unnoticed by his parents, who saw how distracted and upset he had become. One evening while they were having dinner, his mother gently asked, "Ben, is everything okay? You've been distant lately." Ben hesitated, then sighed. "It's just, there's a girl at school, Princess. She's going through something really tough, and I can't stop thinking about how to help her." His father nodded, encouraging him to continue. "What's she dealing with?" Ben took a deep breath. "She's intersex, and she's on hormone therapy. The kids at school found out, and they're being really cruel to her." His parents exchanged concerned looks. Ben's aunt, who ran a well-known foundation for adolescent issues, came to mind. His mother said thoughtfully, "your Aunt Linda's foundation deals with issues like this. Maybe she could help." Ben's face lit up. "Do you think she would?" "I'm sure she would," his father reassured him. "Let's talk to her and see what can be done." A few days later, Ben's parents arranged a meeting with his Aunt Linda. They explained Princess's situation, and Linda, with her compassionate nature, immediately agreed to help. "If she's struggling with her identity and the hormone therapy isn't enough, maybe we should look into surgery," Linda suggested. "It could be life-changing for her." Ben was overwhelmed with gratitude. "You'd do that for her?" Linda smiled. "Every teenager deserves to feel comfortable in their own skin. I'll speak to some of the doctors in our network and see what we can arrange." The process was swift. Linda's foundation took care of everything, from consultations with specialists to securing the best surgeon. The surgery was scheduled to take place during the upcoming holiday in a renowned hospital abroad. Princess was initially hesitant when Ben told her about the offer. "I don't want to be a burden to anyone," she said, her voice trembling. "You're not a burden," Ben assured her. "You deserve to be happy and to feel right in your own body. My aunt wants to help you, and so do I." With some encouragement from Ben and his aunt, Princess and her family finally agreed. The surgery was booked, and all the arrangements were made for her to travel with Linda, who would be by her side throughout the entire process. The surgery went smoothly. The doctors were skilled, and the procedure was a success. Princess spent the rest of the holiday recovering with her family, supported by Linda and Ben's constant messages of encouragement. By the time she returned to Greenfield High for the new term, she was a completely transformed young woman, inside and out. She was the same person but with a newfound confidence that radiated from within. The once timid girl who avoided the girls' restroom now walked with her head held high, and this time she used the girls' restroom without fear. Her return didn't go unnoticed. The students, who had once whispered and jeered, were stunned by her transformation. Even Amara, who had been the cause of so much of her pain, couldn't hide her surprise. As the term progressed, Princess became close to Mike, the most brilliant student in the school. He was quiet, introverted, and often lost in his thoughts, but when it came to academics, Mike was unbeatable. He had a knack for breaking down complex subjects into simple concepts, and Princess found herself spending more time with him, especially in the library. Their friendship didn't go unnoticed by Ben. He couldn't help but feel a pang of jealousy every time he saw Princess and Mike together, laughing over a textbook or walking side by side in the hallway. It bothered him more than he cared to admit. One day after school he finally brought it up. "Princess, can we talk?" he asked, trying to keep his tone light. "Of course, Ben," she said, smiling at him. "It's just, I've noticed you and Mike have been spending a lot of time together," Ben began, struggling to find the right words. "I know he's helping you with school, but sometimes it feels like you're so focused on him that you forget about me." Princess's eyes softened with understanding. She placed a hand on Ben's shoulder. "Ben, you're the most sought-after guy in school. Don't ever forget that," she said gently. "No one comes before you when it comes to friendship and even emotions. Mike is great at helping me with difficult subjects, but you're the one who has been there for me through everything. I'm sorry if it felt like I was ignoring you." Ben smiled, relieved. "I'm glad to hear that, but maybe when we're in public you could ease up on the mic time. It'd be nice if you looked my way a bit more. Princess chuckled and playfully squeezed his nose. Deal. I'll make sure to give you plenty of attention. Later that week, Ben invited her to watch him play soccer against the art class at the school stadium. It was an important match, and Princess promised she would be there, cheering him on from the sidelines. As the match played out, Princess cheered louder than anyone else in the crowd. When Ben scored the winning goal, he looked up at her, and they shared a smile that spoke volumes. They had been through so much together, and though life would throw more challenges their way, they knew they would always have each other's backs. As the year progressed, Princess's confidence grew, and so did her popularity. She became a symbol of resilience and strength, admired by many for how she had handled everything thrown at her. Even Amara, once her greatest enemy, had to admit that Princess had earned her place as the true queen bee of Greenfield High. Ben, who had been by her side through it all, couldn't have been prouder. As they stood together, watching the sun set over the school grounds on the final day of the session, he knew that no matter what the future held, they would face it together. "Thank you," Princess whispered, her eyes shining with gratitude. "For what?" Ben asked, though he knew the answer. "For standing by me when everyone else turned away," she replied, leaning her head against his shoulder. Ben smiled, wrapping his arm around her. "I told you before, and I'll tell you again, you're perfect just the way you are." And in that moment, as the last rays of the sun bathed them in golden light, Princess knew that she had found something far more precious than popularity or acceptance. She had found a true friend in Ben, someone who saw her for who she really was and loved her all the same.